Fatigue driving can be deadly. A recent study found that 13% of commercial motor vehicle drivers were considered to have been fatigued at the time of their crash. And the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration conservatively estimates that 100,000 police-reported crashes each year are the direct result of driver fatigue. This results in an estimated 1,550 deaths, 71,000 injuries, and $12.5 billion in monetary losses. What is most important is the number of fatalities. At Florida Rock and Tank Lines, we value our drivers more than anything. We want you to go home safely to your family every day. Driving a tanker filled with thousands of gallons of fuel when you're tired or drowsy is a disaster waiting to happen.
It's real dangerous because, like I said, this is explosive that we're hauling, and if you're not, well rested, then you shouldn't even be in the truck.
One load ain't worth losing your job or being in prison, because I mean, we're really responsible if we go and kill somebody on the road because we're tired. The judge's not going to be like, well, you had a long day yesterday, it's okay, you know. So it's really important to be safe.
Fatigue driving to me would be when you're driving, you become tired to the point where it might compromise your ability to operate at 100% safety. You might be in a zone where you could potentially have a mistake or poor judgment or something of that manner.
Yes, I've had experience driving tired, and the first thing I do is find the nearest rest area, stop, get out and walk around, and wake up.
It's important to recognize the symptoms of fatigue driving, so you know when to pull over or not get behind the wheel in the first place. First, if you find yourself constantly yawning, this is an indication you're getting tired or fatigued. Eyes that are hard to keep open, commonly referred to as heavy eyes, is another strong indicator you should not be driving. This may be followed by frequent rubbing of the eyes. You may also have difficulty keeping your head upright. You are constantly nodding. This is also an indication that you are close to what's called a microsleep situation, where you fall asleep for a brief period. Drifting in and out of your lane is another signal that you are not as alert as you should be. Do you notice your thoughts are wandering, or that you are daydreaming? Or maybe you have a difficult time remembering where you've driven the last few miles. These are all symptoms of fatigue driving. So what are the main causes? Well, the most obvious is lack of quality sleep. The problem might also have to do with the time of day or night when we might normally be sleeping, or the middle of the afternoon when our biological time clock makes us feel tired. Performing the same task for an extended length of time can cause fatigue. There is also the possibility of a sleep disorder, such as sleep apnea.
Well, sleep apnea is a condition in which a patient has difficulty breathing at night, that their airway is actually collapsing during the effort of breathing. So much so that the collapse can be complete, meaning no airflow. The patient's making a lot of effort to breathe, but no airflow. During that process, your oxygen level goes down and your blood pressure and your pulse react irregularly. Some people even have very high blood pressures. So in this condition, people have been associated with heart attacks and strokes when untreated. A real common symptom is snoring. A lot of people snore but don't have sleep apnea. Some people snore and do. So other questions or symptoms is like choking at night, or stop breathing, or witness like they're not breathing. Then the patients typically have a very restless night, typically. Always waking up, needing to go to the bathroom is a very common symptom as well. Patients oftentimes complain of not feeling refreshed at all after a night's sleep, and they feel very tired during the day. So anybody that's evaluated for the possibility of sleep apnea, having those symptoms that we talked about, we make a decision about bringing them into a lab in an inpatient facility. The treatment of choice by the American Academy of Sleep Medicine for people with sleep apnea is CPAP. And the reason why is that CPAP is the only treatment that has been demonstrated to improve outcomes, meaning high blood pressure, improving the risk of heart attacks and stroke. Other treatments are available, okay? But this is only if you cannot tolerate CPAP. What CPAP is you have a mask hooked to tubing, hooked up to a machine, and the machine provides pressure that allows the pressure to open up that closed airway. A common problem among truck drivers is shift worker syndrome, and especially those truck drivers that go from days to nights. And the most important thing that they can do is get 8 hours of consolidated sleep. When we say consolidated, we mean a continuous run of 8 hours. Some people get into habits of taking naps, then taking another nap. That does not provide the sleep restoration you're looking for.
There can be numerous distractions at home, like taking care of a sick child, running errands, or attending to other family issues. This can interfere with a driver getting proper rest. Here are some tips on getting the rest you need. First, educate your family on the importance of getting proper rest before going to work. Make sure they are all aware of the dangers of driving without proper sleep. Remind them that driving with thousands of gallons of fuel right behind you is an extremely important responsibility. After all, you are responsible not only for your own safety, but for other drivers on the highway. Create a sleep schedule and share it with your family. Let them know you need peace and quiet during this time.
I try to keep my schedule as consistent as possible because doing the same thing over and over becomes, you kind of predict your outcome as your tired level. So my family time, we have family time, dinner time, and when I come back to work, I'm feeling very refreshed.
Avoid medications that cause drowsiness. If you must take this type of medicine, take it after you get home from work. Any prescribed medications must be shown to your terminal manager and approved by the ETC before driving. Maintain a healthy diet. Proper nutrition will give you energy and help keep you alert.
If you are eating heavy, greasy foods or lots of sugary foods, it tends to make you feel weighed down, not feel as well, increases your fatigue. If you eat light and healthier foods and not as much in one sitting, like don't eat a big meal before you come to work because you're just going to want to sit down and go to sleep.
Drinking coffee, turning up the radio, or opening the window only provides short-term relief.
Well, if you think you're tired, you're too tired. You know, if you're behind that wheel and you're just catching yourself shaking your head and lowering the window or turning the radio up, you know, you want to pull over and get some coffee and look at yourself, wash your face and see how, you know, regroup, see how you feel.
And loss of sleep takes time to recover, usually 2 full nights of uninterrupted sleep. Remember, lack of sleep affects you in many ways. Your learning and decision-making are impaired, and your mood and overall health are negatively impacted.
And at the end of the day, you're drained out. Like I said, you know, you're not just dealing with with this unit. You're dealing with other people. You're also dealing with customers that you got to go deliver to, in and out of the stores, the locations, traffic. So yeah, it takes a lot out of you. And at the end of the day, you do need to at least get your 8 hours worth of sleep.
Even when you get the recommended 7 to 8 hours of sleep, you may find yourself getting tired while driving. Find a safe place to stop, maybe a rest area or truck stop, and take a break. Exercise can be beneficial, so take a brisk walk around your truck a couple of times. The bottom line? Without proper sleep, your mind is not as alert. Your reaction times are slower, and your judgment is not as good. Fatigue can affect more than your driving. If you are not alert, you may load the wrong product or be careless walking around hoses or other obstacles in the work area. You may miss a step in the loading or unloading process, which could cause a preventable product mix or spill. The way to prevent this is to get proper rest. Make sure you get a good night's sleep before getting behind the wheel. And if you notice any of the symptoms we've discussed while driving, find a safe place to pull off the road and call dispatch. Your family and Florida Rock and Tank Lines want you home safe every day and night.
The other person in the other car might be your family, so it's not worth killing somebody or hurting anybody to do a job. So it's always important to remember that, not to just, I just got to do this and get home. And so that's the way I look at it. Everybody else out there is family. You don't want to hurt nobody.